Dead by Daylight's newest DLC, All Kill, adds as per usual one new killer and one new survivor, as well as an update to the base game, which adds a few bug fixes, a few changes to already existing killers, and a change to Decisive Strike. If you'd like to know more about the update that went live with the DLC, there will be a link in the description to the patch notes. However, I'm going to focus on the new killer, the Trickster, and the new survivor, Yung-Jin Lee. Also, I don't speak Korean, so I apologise in advance if I butcher any pronunciation in any way, shape, or form. A knife thrower turned K-pop superstar, Jae-woon was invigorated by the limelight and adored the crowds of fans that came to see his band No Spin perform live all over South Korea. However, that all changed when his band members died in a recording studio fire. Something snapped in Jae-woon that day, and his life and the life of his manager Yung-Jin Lee would be forever changed for the worse. The power is probably the most interesting part about the Trickster, and one that splits the Dead by Daylight community in two. Showstopper allows the Trickster to throw blades. Similar to the Huntress, although starting with a whopping 60 blades, it does take 8 blade hits for the survivor to lose a health state. However, every time he manages to hit a survivor with the blades, he fills a meter called Main Event. Once activated, the Trickster throws unlimited blades for the duration and with no movement speed decrease. The problem comes with the hit detection in Dead by Daylight. You'll notice when playing a lot of the shots that should hit won't, and a lot of the shots have no way of hitting land for some strange reason. This has been a big problem in the game from the early days of launch and is really yet to be improved. Although landing them is hard enough with the hit detection, they really just kinda spray out frantically, and there's no real way of properly controlling them. This kinda takes the fun out of it for me. With each new killer that releases, I really want to have this learning opportunity put out in front of me, where if I'm able to put in the hours to learn the character, then I'm eventually going to be able to play decently with him. But with the randomness of the blades, I simply cannot do that. As anyone who plays Dead by Daylight should know, whenever a new killer is released, they come with a set of perks that will help them in gameplay situations. His perks are Starstruck, Hex, Crowd Control, and No Way Out. Starstruck activates whenever you carry a survivor. Any other survivor in your terror radius suffers from the exposed status effect for 30 seconds, and once a survivor is dropped or hooked, there is a 90-second cooldown before being able to use it again. This is a bit of a double-edged sword for me, as if you're playing the killer, this sounds like a good way to stop other survivors taking protection hits and perhaps stalling the hook process. However, on the survivor's point of view, I could really see how this could be frustrating, especially since stalling the hook process allows for some ways to clutch even the most challenging of games, and if equipped with Mad Grit, it could become a really lethal and perhaps feature-breaking perk. Hex Crowd Control allows the entity to block windows for 14 seconds after a survivor performs a rush vault through it. This is basically a map-wide bamboozle without the need for the killer to actually vault windows. Is this a good idea for a perk? In my opinion, I think it is. This is a really good way to catch up to experienced survivors that know how to properly mind game, and be able to catch them with their trousers down, so to speak. And although it sounds completely ridiculous to add an anti-vault playstyle, it is a hex perk, which means it can be destroyed by finding skill totems across the map, which to me seems like a fair trade. His final perk is No Way Out. For every survivor you manage to hook, No Way Out gets a token. Whenever the last generator is repaired, the entity blocks both exit gate switches for 10 seconds, and an additional 8 seconds per token. Holy shit, does this seem like a badass perk. When the final generator is down, it's really easy for killers to get demotivated and feel like they've lost, when actually there's a lot more they could be doing to secure an extra kill or two. With this perk, it buys the killer a little more time to get some balance, and although 10 seconds doesn't seem like much, it could mean the difference between life or death. And if paired with Freddy Krueger's perk Remember Me, you're literally making it highly impossible that they actually escape with their lives. Yung-Jin Lee was born to a life of hardship, and after hard work and dedication, she managed to find success in the music industry. Although not a fan of No Spin, she sought a rogue element in the band, and after much consideration, decided to add what believed to be her magnum opus to the band, Jae-woon. Although after the tragic deaths of the rest of the band, she found a way to see profit from Distraught, and even made a tour with the heartbroken Jae-woon. In a possible bid for more success, she instead created a monster. Honestly, Yung-Jin Lee's backstory is actually a first in Dead by Daylight, where a survivor is actually a really bad person. And perhaps if she wasn't like this, then Jae-woon would have had a chance to grieve, and possibly wouldn't have turned into the homicidal maniac he is today. The survivor perks are pretty interesting, so let's get into those. Her perks are Fast Track, Smash Hit, and Self-Preservation. With Fast Track, whenever a survivor is hooked, you gain 1 token. Each token is used whenever you accomplish a great skill check on a generator, which grants a 1% progression bonus. Although I normally play Killer and rarely play Survivor, this perk is actually really decent. Repairing generators is a real objective to winning a match in DBD, and any other perk to make it go faster puts you at an advantage. Although the only drawback I could see to this is how little you get out of it, when you could run Prove Thyself and get more benefit with it for you and your team. Smash Hit activates whenever stunning the killer with a pallet. You then break into a sprint at 150% of your normal speed for a maximum of 4 seconds, and then causes the exhausted status effect for 40 seconds. Basically your run-of-the-mill exhaustion perk, like Balance Landing or Dead Hard. These speed perks are really useful for getting distance from your attacker, and for you to maybe make it to another loop, lose the killer, or maybe even to make it to the exit gates. Although unlike those other perks, you need to really be chased by the killer. As I've said before with the hit detection in DBD, there's a roll of the dice that the killer might be able to hit you before you're actually able to stun him. Whenever another survivor is hit within 12 meters of you, self-preservation activates, which allows scratch marks to be hidden, grunts of pain caused by injuries to be reduced by 100%, and for you to not leave any pools of blood for 6 seconds. This is perhaps a really amazing perk, perfect for protection hits, scurrying away in a hurry, or making dead in place. It's basically a more all-inclusive Iron Will. However, with all the praise I'm giving it, I must cover the biggest negative. It will only activate in a short radius and if someone gets hit, so it's going to only really be used in those exact and sometimes rare situations. Although I'm speaking about what we got in this DLC, there's something that we didn't get, a new map. The last map Dead by Daylight got was with Pyramid Head's inclusion to the roster in June of 2020. This was something I was really hoping for in this DLC, and is perhaps my biggest letdown. It would have been cool to have a concert themed map with all the lights going off, and would have been a real diamond in the rough for this DLC. So, costing £5.19 is the all-kill bundle that comes with the sociopathic knife thrower, the Trickster, and his mentally unstable manager Yung-Jin Lee worth the pennies? In my opinion, I think so. The perks are too good to pass up, and although the killer might be a little underwhelming, it's definitely fun to play, and who knows, it might be getting a rework soon. And with the survivor that comes with some good perks as well, it's really just an alright package. However, I suggest getting different Dead by Daylight bundles first, and to only buy this if you have some of the better killers or better survivors.